start. So in this we have introduction to overhead and underground distribution lines. Then we have to estimate material used for the distribution of 11 kV ST line, then 415 kV volt LT line. Then we have cables used for distribution lines. We have to discuss the factors determining selection of LT and ST power cables. Then we have cable termination methods. ज्यांचे मायक्रोफोन ऑन असतील ते ऑफ करा. Okay. So then design and estimation of ST 11 kV and LT 415 volts overhead distribution and underground distribution lines. What you should able to do, you should able to draw a diagram for given three-phase distribution network, maybe three-phase 3-wire or maybe three-phase 4-wire system with different types of insulator. You should able to draw the pole structures. You should able to design the distribution line. You should able to prepare estimation for the specified distribution line. So these are the skills, or what we can say the objectives of the unit, and you should able to develop among you these skills. So that is expectation, and these skills will be we have judgment by doing the practicals. So practical which is associated with these particular skills. So underground and overhead distribution lines we are having. Normally we are having the distribution which starts from the substation. Distribution is normally 3-phase 4-wire system. We are having 3-phase 4-wire 400 volts, and we are having 3-phase system with single phase we are having 230 volts. And distribution lines may be overhead, or distribution lines you may erect underground by using underground cables. Underground system always costly than that of overhead system. So normally which system is to be used, where and why. So if you have to find out all the answers of these questions, and then you should go for either overhead or underground system of distribution. Now overhead system of distribution, that is overhead means it is open to sunlight, open to atmospheric conditions, rain, moist, storm, whatever. Okay. So overhead means overhead, open. Underground system, especially it is underground cable which is buried. So therefore there is no exposed to the external atmosphere like sunlight, storms, moisture. Moisture is there, no doubt, but atmospheric, rain, etc. Some other effects are there, but compared to overhead, underground lines are under major coverage. So they are having major protections from the external atmospheric parameters or factors. Then especially the overhead network looks crowded network, shabby. It spoils the beauty of localities. Means as far as the overhead system is concerned, so it is something spoily, it is something crowded, number of wires are there, number of wires are running over the poles. So it looks somehow bad, and if you have a beauty of that particular locality, suppose the locality is especially for tourist purpose, the locality is especially for main part of the heart of the city. So this particular what we can say, the good location, that may get hamper, spoils the beauty. But underground network, it is what we have. It is quite similar to that of your casing capping or conduit wiring or wooden batten wiring and conceal wiring. Why we go for conceal wiring? To first thing is that increase the beauty of the house. So to increase the beauty of the city or increase the beauty of the particular locality, normally people will go for underground cables. Okay. Then normally overhead system is cheap, very cheap. It is said over here, but very cheap means compared to underground. Compared to underground system of distribution, it is cheap. Either very cheap, normally we take, it is costless, very less costly. We cannot say less costly, but cheap compared to underground. And underground system definitely, because of the cost of cable, that is very important, is cost. So here the cost is directly based on the material or conductor. Then overhead conductors are cheaper than that of the underground cables used. So overhead system is. Then overhead system, you can have the overall supervision, inspection whenever there is fault, and you can easily find out the fault by inspecting the line with open eyes. So fault detection is easy. But underground system, if you say, in underground system the fault detection is difficult. Okay, so in underground system the fault detection requires to do special test. So special test, especially special test, you have to means there are various methods of testing the cable or fault finding in underground system. So you have to find out the fault by using those methods, and those methods are costly. Then maintenance, normally if you consider maintenance in overhead, because of overhead is mostly open to the atmospheric conditions, so storm is there, sunlight, heating, contracting, then cold, wind is there, then you may have these things, moisture is there, rain is there, so it is always overhead system is exposed to the external parameters, so maintenance normally it is frequent. But maintenance, it is occasional in case of underground system, because of these systems are especially from all atmospheric factors, it is isolated. In case of fault location or in case of fault in overhead related to conductor, related to joint replacing, it is easy. But in case of underground system, you need, if there is a fault, the cable jointing, it is tedious job, it is time consuming job. So fault detection and fault repair in underground system is a tedious job compared to overhead system. And faults can be detected and repaired in less time in overhead system, and therefore less consumer affected, or less time will be there for which consumer will be get affected. But in case of overhead system, underground system, the repairs are taking lot of time. You have to dug there, you have to remove the material, then you have to do this cable jointing work that requires time, and then it is entirely time consuming process, and you are putting these consumers away from the electrical energy, so there is a less time of more time of shutdown compared to overhead system. So more shutdown that is required for underground. Then time required for overhead line erection, it is much more. It involves super erection, conductor binding, guarding, fitting, insulation, supports and all those. But once the strength is there and everything is there, cable laying. Cable laying is fast compared to underground overhead system. Okay. Then the line affected by falling the trees and other objects normally in, and this is usual, our usual experience we have. Normally when there is a small amount of rain is there, or even no rain is no raining, you have just a storm for 5 to 10 minutes, you will have the normally shutdown for number of hours. कदाचित कधी कधी आपण म्हणतो 10 मिनिटाचा पाऊस आणि 10 तास लाईट गायब होते आपल्याकडे. So this is overhead system get affected because of multiple things like falling trees, tree branches and all on particular line. So no such chance it is there in case of underground. In dense populated area, if you dense populated म्हणजे दाट लोकवस्तीचा जो एरिया असेल, in such cases it is more risk or chance of accident if you have overhead system. But here in underground you are having the less risk. Then overhead system it produces disturbances to the telecommunication and other net, internet, fiber net network वगैरे आलं. So these are producing the disturbances to these particular lines, communication lines. But such chance that is not there with underground because they are isolated from all. Then inductive reactance of overhead line is much more than that of underground system because of spacing between the conductor. So inductance, capacitance, resistance of each conductor, then this is because of inductance and flux linking with conductor with itself, plus flux linking with conductor because of the current flowing through other conductor. So there is a space. So this space acts as a charging space. So inductance, more inductance or inductive reactance is there, and it is feeding to reactive power in case of overhead line. So you have particularly lead sheath is provided. Lead sheath is provided in between two conductors of the cable. So there is no what we can have less inductance in between this. Okay. Then due to more reactance, more voltage drop, just I told you, but in cable there is a less, or what we can say, less voltage drop, and mostly we are having the copper cables, so it is having less voltage drop with respect to the overhead line. So basically where to erect underground and where to erect overhead lines. So normally in rural areas, when you are having the population density is very less, when the place particularly not affected by the erection of this, beauty of the place will not get affected by erecting the overhead lines. Then where the budgetary provision is less, then priority of consumers or supply, if it is less, then normally people go for that particular region overhead lines. And vice versa, if you have underground cables, so thickly populated areas, metro cities where you are having the power is a priority, less maintenance it is required, reliability of supply system is required more, then you need less repairing time if fault is there. If we have sufficient funding for that, less voltage drop it is required. All these are parameters on priority. Then we will go for underground system. So metros, normally we are having underground cities, underground overhead lines, underground cables, and in particularly the rural areas we are having the underground overhead systems. So overhead systems is having its own advantages and disadvantages. Underground system is having its own advantages.